Good morning. Happy Tuesday. The ice is turning to slush. I was able to get in the office. We've got Brady Huck in Kansas. Tom Grisafi, I believe, is in Nashville. We're going to talk a little ADM stock, some 24 acreage numbers. And with that, we'll jump right into the show and bring them on. Tommy, Brady, how are we?
Morning,
Doing
Connor.
well, gentlemen.
Good to see you can make it in the office today. Make it to work today. That's good to see, Connor.
Yes. We got some warmer temps. The rain isn't stopping, but some warmer temps, which are welcome for our area, I would say. And
Guys, it was nice to see the kids at Belmont University sledding down the hill. The college students were out playing in the snow, and it's just starting to melt here in Nashville. So weather effect full force all across America.
Yeah, good deal. Well, let's jump right into it with our headline. We touched on it briefly yesterday, but ADM stock down 24% yesterday on rumors of accounting malpractice, accounting issues in their nutrition segment. They have their CFO on administrative leave. Not good. They're going to postpone earnings.
Want me to touch this one, boys? ADM, just a long-time firm. As a kid going down to the Board of Trade, first day you walk on that floor, the grain floor, ADM jackets everywhere, and I just have horrible memories of when I started the Chicago Board of Trade in summer of 1990. About 1/5 of all the jackets were this mustard yellow, a company called Stotler, and then here I'm green as could be, and the next few weeks later they were gone, right? And I don't think that's the case here, and I hope it's not. Currently, ADM's up about 3-4%. There's a lot of things happening on, but when you guys we were trying to do the math before we went live, they didn't. This isn't like $1 billion of stock loss. We're $6, $7, $8, $9 billion of stock loss. Typically, ADM trades about 2 to 3 million shares. Busy day before, I think they popped off 36, 38 million shares yesterday. Wow. Volatility went through the roof. Brady, tell us about that trade. Tell us about how Beeks knew to buy those puts here a few weeks ago. What was that?
Yeah, it's seen there was a big trade where somebody bought $750,000 worth of January puts. Very timely position to have on, considering all things. And I think yesterday they were worth $11 million at one point.
Not all options expire worthless, boys, because those sure didn't.
They didn't.
Here's a little color on it. This the one-day drop, biggest drop ADM seen since 1929. I'll give you a few guesses what happened in 1929, but a huge drop. And then this is mainly attributed to their nutrition segment, right? That's something they really jumped into in the past, 5-10 years, right? Getting into the more of that high margin environment and trying to diversify from their, their crush plants, their ethanol industry and all that. Because I believe we were a record this time last year, ADM, around 10, 12 months ago, on great crushing numbers, great margins in soy meal, with Argentina having that lower drought, lower crop that we saw last year. So we'll continue to watch that and see what comes out of it as we see more of that accounting and more color added to ADM and seeing where they're going from there.
Real quick before we go, and not to be a jerk, but that's what I get paid to do. Mistakes you make during good times come out during bad times. And when margins are good, the Ukraine war, it allowed for so much profit in grain trade and everything else. But, that's calmed down. Prices have calmed down. Volatility's calmed down. We went from the thought we were running out. I don't really think we were ever running out of grain. I just think the whole world became a hoarder. And nobody's hoarding grain right now. The cost of money is too expensive. Just the whole dynamics, guys, changed. What's this mean to someone watching the show, a farmer, a rancher, an advanced trading client? Stay disciplined. Sure, times were good. They're not as good as they were. If ADM could get in a pickle, you can get in a pickle. Back to you, boys.
Absolutely. And speaking of just looking at markets right now, we got a little I don't know if I want to say rally, but we've got everything green. It's a good feeling. March corn near the highs, right at 450. March soybeans sitting at 1232, 1233, real close to the highs too. And we got wheat up as well. Wheat's up around 7 3/4, 8 cents. So good to see. Let's hope we see some follow through today.
Definitely. Yep. So, testing those upper end of recent resistance there. Maybe we can break through to the other side.
Yep. Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. A lot of estimates on 24 acreage. I saw Informa had one, S&P. So let's touch a little bit and just look at the numbers. First thing, looking at the supply demand for 2024, we've got a long way to go. But one headline we saw, China to encourage hog farmers to reduce capacity after the price slump. Okay.
Yeah, interesting headline. A lot of headlines going on in China, and always scratching our head. What's going on in China? What will happen in the future? But hogs consume a lot of grain. It's got to make you wonder how much demand that will impact demand from U.S. and Brazil going forward.
No doubt, guys. China's not right from the whole pandemic. I mean, you make people stay in their house for 2 years, you change habits. They say it takes 4 to 6 weeks to change a habit. They changed habits for the world, and I believe that their population growth has went down. They had a negative number. That there's usually most countries are making babies. They're not in the baby making business, and it's just going to be overall less calories consumed.
Yeah,
interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Other thing we didn't have as a headline, but it just popped. I just thought about it. GMO is a big topic for China. They're jumping more into the GMO corn, soybeans, right? Trying to get more internal production up. So we'll be following that closely and see where it is. So with that, let's jump right into 2024 acreage demand. Let's look at it. And first thing I want to say, guys, is that we are very early to this game, right? If we look back to 2023, they added 4 million of corn acres in June, and we added over 2 bushel to the final yield 2 weeks ago. So when we're looking this far out, we're just looking at where they might position ourselves, but it's still good to look at it.
Yep, always good to review the numbers. I didn't see many planters rolling when I drove to work here this morning. I don't know about you, Connor, but
not too many. Only planters I saw was at the dealership.
Yeah, when I look at this chart and this yield number, this great chart by Scott Irwin there, but that 180, 181, 185, those seem like big numbers, but looking at that graphic, it doesn't seem like it's out of the question to see that type of number printed. And rewind the clock a year ago in that Feb Outlook meeting, they printed a 181 that came in and shocked the trade and shocked the market and just sent this market in a tizzy. And that's not too far away here. So
yeah. Real quick, guys, I talked to a client yesterday who sells a lot of fertilizer in Iowa, and he said, remind your viewers and your co-hosts that don't forget how nice the weather was in November and December, and they were still putting on the gas all the way up till Christmas. So I'm going to go with that. There's going to be more corn acres planted than you think, just because overall the psychology of a farmer is if they can do something to prep that ground, get it ready, they're not going to wait till next year. And the fact we had abnormally warm weather into the fall really got a lot of acres prepared for corn. That's my opinion.
Great.
Obviously, time will tell. And that came from a guy who sells a ton of fertilizer.
Yeah. Tommy, you think that 93 is on the light side a little bit, maybe? Or I mean, it's really early. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
the corn bean ratio is like 2.5. I'd like to see that move, right? I'd like to see a little battle where corn looks better, and then usually what happens is one thing looks better and the other they plant it, and then 6 months later the numbers totally flip, and you're like, you should have planted all beans. But I've noticed, guys, last few years we don't have as big of a rotation as you used to. I mean, even when wheat was skyrocketing a few years ago, we didn't necessarily lose so many acres to wheat. I think the farmer has a general rotation and they stick to it. But there's room to give. But the 2.5 is 2.5. I think if they got the gas down, they're planting corn. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And definitely some flex acres out there. Go ahead, Connor.
I was going to say the early projections are looking similar, right? 94 million was the biggest we've seen in a long time. 93 million acres, as we can see here on corn. That's still a big number. Right. Yeah. That's still a lot of corn acres. And looking at that just historically, I'd say you're pretty in line, Tommy. Right. And then,
well, just think about it, from a production standpoint, trend yield on 94, 93, 94, 92 million acres. Is it a 15 billion bushel corn crop? And if it's a 15 billion bushel corn crop, we're not chewing through 15 billion bushels, that carry out grows. So a lot of pieces of the puzzle going forward, though.
And you use that trend line yield of 181, 24 production, you're looking at a 15.3, right? That's not a small number. Long way to go on trend line yield, long way to go on corn acreage. But yes, that we're over a 15, very much over a 15, Brady.
Yep, that's a builder, unless we're having a big export program. So
Right.
Interesting to talk about these numbers this far in advance of the planting season, but safrinha crop in U.S., a lot of factors going forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll see. Fun to look at them, but I still go back to 2023, the most expensive corn crop ever, and we planted 94 million acres. So I'm not going to put too much stock in these early acreage estimates, but it is good to plan, start thinking about that, and think about how the market could react to a big yield number, big acreage number, and how we can pivot from there.
Tomorrow, guys, are on a special. We should back into those numbers. We have the USDA Ag Forum in DC coming up in the next few days or a few weeks. And I mean, if we plop in a big yield and a big acreage number and assume everything's great, where was the price of corn last time we had, say we go to a 2.5 billion carryout, right? So we got to stay disciplined. I mean, there's just, again, last week I drove all over the country and everyone had the same problem. It's very much a psychology of the mental mindset of the farmer. We need to help them steer that straight.
Yeah. And here, when you say big yield, I'm going to pull this up again. When we talk big yield, right, to me, when I hear 180, that's a monster yield, right? I go back to 2010, 2015, where it just felt unrealistic. But according to Trendline and just looking at the statistics, can't get that word out, I'd say a big yield. Are we going to call it a 185? Are we going to call it a 190? Right. But let's not even put those production numbers up if we're doing a 190. But
yeah, and you think about what type of crop we raised here this year with just-in-time rainfall. What if the stars align and Mother Nature helps us out? Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Real quick, we have one question, but you don't have to pop it up. I can see it. But someone said, didn't ADM learn from their issues with lysine? And it's a serious thing. There's that movie with Matt Damon called The Informant, and it's not even funny because I have so many friends and good associates I've known for 30 some years work at ADM. I'm not saying it wasn't a good movie, but this is one of the largest ag grain companies in America. And one of the most stable things we should have is food, fuel, and fiber. We should not be having this type of volatility in an ag stock. I do hope they work it out, looking at stock having a bid today. But yeah, I guess, where there's smoke, there's fire, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, if you guys don't have anything else, I think we should wrap it up. Let Tommy get to work. I think he's doing some live taping again this afternoon. So good luck, Tommy. And I think we'll see everyone tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep. See you guys.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.